Hey guys, today I want to talk about basic terminology and getting a sound out of the guitar. Now let's take a look on the strings. So string number 6 is this: 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the bass string is 6, not 1. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now the names of the notes are E, A, D, G, B, and E. So we have two E's, a bassy E and a skinny E. So we refer to these strings as open strings, meaning that every string that is not fretted, that I'm not really fretting, I'm just kind of strumming like this, is an open string. Now let's talk about frets. Frets are the metal bars, and we number them from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth. So for example, if I want you to play fret number 3, string number 1, I'm talking about this note over here. This is a G note. Okay, so the string number 1, fret number 3. Let's see something else. String number 3, fret number 2. So 3 is this guy, because we go 6, 5, 4, 3. So 3, fret number 2 would be this A note here. Also, all the notes, of course, have names, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about left hand fingers. Pinky is number 4, ring finger is 3, middle finger, also known as courtesy finger, number 2, and index number 1. Okay, so for example, let's take a look. If I say, let's play fret number 5, string number 1 using our number 1 finger or the first finger, then we're using the index finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on string number 1, and this is the note here. Now let's take a look on how to get a note out of the guitar. Let's use finger number 1, index finger, string number 1, fret number 3. So I'm bringing my finger over here. Now I want to get this G note right. Now what I'm doing is, here are a few principles that can really help you get a good sound out of the guitar. What I usually do is I try to get close to the fret that is high, or the highest fret in between the two frets. Because if you look at the fret number 3 or any fret on the guitar, you can kind of play the note here, you can play it in the middle, or you can go close to the fret. And usually I would say that the best tone is pretty close to the fret. It's perfectly fine to play in the middle, and in certain situations where you play a chord, you kind of have to go towards the tuning keys. But generally when you play single note, it's good to get close to the fret. So what I want to do is have kind of a nice C-shaped first finger and get close to the fret. Now I want to get the string under kind of the MIDI part of the finger. I don't want to get the string too close to the nail. If I get the string too close to the nail, it's going to be kind of difficult to get the right kind of pressure. Now the idea here is that you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to get the sound, but if you're a complete beginner, it might feel uncomfortable for a while, but after a few weeks you will feel much more comfortable with this. It's just a little bit challenging sometimes for the kind of, the skin until you build up the strength. So let's take a look on this thumb position. So basically the thumb can be anywhere from the middle of the neck, a little higher, or even here. It really depends on where or what you're playing. Sometimes if we play the skinny strings, our thumb is a little higher. If we play the bass strings, our thumb is going to be a little lower. So I'm a believer that the thumb is fine with kind of being dynamic and not being in a set position. Now here's a few things that you want to avoid. You don't want the thumb like this. You don't want the palm of your hand kind of, glued to the back of the neck. So I'm playing this first note that we're experimenting with, which is a G note. It's on the 3rd fret, first string with the index finger. And then if you look at the back of the guitar, you see there's a little bit of air kind of between the palm of my hand and the guitar neck. I don't want to go like this. I don't want to glue my palm here. I don't want the thumb to really point towards the tuning keys like this. And I certainly don't want it to go down like this. I kind of want it like this. See, so this is a good position. It can be a little higher, it can be a little lower, but you want it generally to look like this, to have a nice kind of a space between the palm and the back of the neck. Another common mistake that I see with beginners is bending the string or the strings when trying to kind of get a note out. So you have to make sure that you're not pushing it up or down, because you're basically playing it out of tune if you do that. So you want to approach the string from the top of the string. You want to lay down the finger, have enough kind of meat from the finger on the string, pretty close to the fret without stepping on the fret. Nice C-shaped with your first finger, a little bit of space between the palm and the guitar neck. And then you can either use your pick just to kind of experiment with your first note here, or you can use the finger for now. It doesn't matter. We're just kind of looking at the left hand right now. We are going to talk about the right hand, of course. You should experiment with the amount of pressure as well. You can release some of the pressure and see if you, or try to listen to the note. If you release too much and you lose the note, that's when you know that you kind of get in touch with the muscles, and the muscle memory starts to form. So basically, you want to be able to apply the least amount of pressure that can still get you the sound, because anything beyond that is just a waste of energy, because we don't really need to be so kind of tough here. Now, of course, if you're just starting out, and obviously this is a beginner lesson, it might be a little challenging for the fingers and for the skin, but don't worry about it. Just do it a little bit every day. Try to get the sound. You can experiment with different frets, different strings, and of course different fingers. And little by little, it will feel much more natural. Now let's talk about positioning the guitar. Right-handed players tend to position the guitar on their right leg, but it's certainly not written in stone, and you can totally experiment. You can move it over to the left leg and see what's more comfortable to you. Here are some principles that I think really help with positioning the guitar. One is I like to create a little bit of an angle. So I don't want the guitar to be a little too straight, because then, the left hand is really putting in a lot of effort, and it's hard to actually see the guitar neck. So by positioning it a little, angling the guitar a little bit, like this, you already, you can see the guitar neck, you can see your left hand better, and the position of the left hand is a little more rounded. It's not, kind of straight. Another thing that I like to do is I like to try to kind of position the neck facing up a little bit. So that helps also with kind of getting a nice round position for the left arm. Okay, so to me this is a good position, and it takes a while to get used to balancing the guitar on your body. It might feel like it wants to kind of like fall off, but it's just a matter of experimenting, feeling comfortable with it, and within a short while you just experiment with it and you find the sweet spot. Alright guys, so this was basic terminology and getting a sound out of the guitar. I hope you found it useful and got something out of it. I'll see you next time.